I study the process of geographic range expansion, specifically in plants, and I aim to incorporate different ecological and evolutionary processes in my work. I approach it from both developing new theory and empirical work in the alpine, specifically with the focal species pink monkey flower. And I'm studying across varying spatiotemporal scales, so I have some work along elevational gradients and others looking at it across its entire range, so at this latitudinal scale. So the elevational work I do is in Garibaldi Provincial Park, and I ended up working there for a fun reason. My supervisor went on a long trail run, and she saw pink monkey flower sort of colonizing where alpine glaciers would have been, and so that was sort of the kernel of the idea to study range expansion on these shorter space and time scales, ideally in a replicated way, to look at variability in the process of range expansion. And Garibaldi Provincial Park was an awesome place to conduct this work as well, because geologists have previously mapped all of these alpine glacier recession pathways. So 150 years ago till now, we know where the glacier terminuses were, we know the sort of rate of recession of those glaciers, and so we can use that as a benchmark to measure the speed of colonization, the success. In order to do the elevational work in the alpine, I had to learn how to backpack, which I'd never done before, and so that led me down the road of becoming a backpacking chef and dehydrating all of my own food. I'm the top identifier of pink monkey flower on iNaturalist, and that's related to my research because eventually I want to build environmental niche models, and iNaturalist data, when it's research grade, goes into the GBIF database, and then that's kind of what you're pulling for creating these environmental niche models and other sort of excellent scientific data. So I wanted to make sure the data was really good. The latitudinal work sort of emerged from the elevational work, where there's other questions related to range expansion and its eco-evo dynamics that I wanted to ask, but they weren't appropriate to that small and short space and time scale. So we just blew it up to include the entire range. And pink monkey flower, it's in the northwestern North America, and the most southern point is in Great Basin National Park in Nevada. Most northern point is in Sitka, Alaska, so it's a lot of territory to cover. This summer, I will be chartering a float plane to collect samples at the northern range edge in Sitka, Alaska. And so pink monkey flower is an alpine subalpine species, but as you move higher in latitude, the sort of elevational differences decrease, and so it's found more around these lakes on the Alaskan Peninsula, and you can't access them easily.